Leo is taking a nap on the couch, waiting for his wife Paula to finish her makeup. They will be going on a date, which is the first time since they got married 12 years ago. Their 2 kids, Ariel and Nico, are already with Leo's mother, so the couple can enjoy their night together. Paula sees Leo napping, so she thinks he's not in the mood to go out anymore. Leo wakes up and, in a sleepy manner, confirms that they will push through with their date. Paula asks again, pointing out that he may be tired because he's sleeping. Leo assures his wife multiple times that they will have that date that night. Paula doesn't inquire further. Instead, she asks if he can wait for 5 more minutes. Leo tells her she should call Flor and Mati to tell them they're going to be late. However, Paula receives very unfortunate news. Their good friends Flor and Mati have ended their relationship. Leo doesn't want to believe it because he's never seen any indication from Mati that he's having marital problems. While Paula may have already accepted the fact, Leo still believes their friends will get back together soon. Although they're shocked by the news, they still decide to go out for the night. Leo gets to their car first. While waiting, he meets their enigmatic neighbor, Michaela. Leo greets her amicably, and Michaela notices that her neighbor seems to be going out. She says that it's the kind of evening that is more suited to cozying up on the couch. Michaela also tells him she's going to study script writing, so she asks for some school recommendations. Leo suggests she should watch films, read available scripts, and in general, live her own experience. Michaela appreciates the profound advice. She then says goodbye to Leo. At last, Paula comes down, and the couple proceeds to travel to their destination. On their way, Leo asks Paula to call his mother and check on their kids. Leo's mother, Betty, doesn't answer immediately, which makes the couple a bit concerned. Leo drives their car around the roundabout, discussing with Paola what may have happened. Just then, Betty calls Leo. He puts the phone on speaker so that Paola can also hear the updates. The kids are making a mess, but all in all, they're good. Betty tells Leo not to tell Paola that one of the kids threw up because Betty knows Paola is reactive. When the call ends, Paola only chuckles at her mother-in-law's comment. She's used to it, and she has no ill will towards Betty. Leo drives out of the roundabout and takes the highway. The couple reminisces about how they first met and how they communicated. Leo remarks that if the technology then was as good as it is now, he would have made Paola his within 2 minutes. He says this with an intensity that gives Paola butterflies in her stomach. Paola then tells him they should stop by a pharmacy so she can buy pregnancy kits. Leo is stunned. Is his wife pregnant? For the past few months, Paola mistakenly believes she's pregnant because her period arrives late, only to be proven wrong. He's aware that they've been trying to do the deed, but somehow they can't get to it. Either their sons would always cuddle with them, or their domestic chores would need more attention, or they're just too tired from their respective work. The couple hears a repeating alarm. Leo says it's the gas, and knowing that Paola will nag, he assures her it's nothing to worry about. Then their conversation turns to Flor and Mady and their separation. They discuss possible reasons for the divorce. Paola says that Flor used to talk to her about the passing of time, the burnout, and the routine, among others, which may have contributed to their separation. Leo thinks it's strange, as there is nothing special among those reasons. Then Leo's phone rings. Betty calls again to tell them their sons have been crying, and she doesn't know how to handle them. The couple decides to drive towards Betty's house, but by the time they get there, Betty says the kids are asleep again. There's a restrained frustration on the couple's face. Their night of romance isn't turning out the way they expected. Betty keeps on telling stories that the couple couldn't care less about. Eventually, Betty reminds them to pick the kids up at 1:30 a.m. before letting the couple go. When they reach their car, they are approached by a vagrant who demands payment for his so-called service, which is looking after Leo's car. Leo says he's never asked for a service, and he parked at the designated place beside the road because it's free. But the vagrant is aggressive, so Leo gives him 50 pesos. Later, Paola reproaches Leo for not standing up to himself. Feeling exasperated, Leo says she would still reproach him if he didn't give the vagrant any money. Paola would say he has no social sensibility. He says she always reacts in opposition to what he does. Paola defends herself, and they bicker shortly before falling silent. Leo decides to turn on the car stereo and plays a Sinatra song. For the whole duration of a song, the couple stays quiet. Eventually, it's Leo who reaches out first. They understand that they may have misunderstandings at times, but at the end of the day, they would always look out for each other. Paula smiles, although she turns off the stereo because she thinks Leo doesn't really like Sinatra. Leo says he does listen to Sinatra, and they bicker again. Then Paula exclaims to stop the car, as they almost pass by a pharmacy. After a somewhat eventful car ride, they finally arrive at the restaurant. They've made a reservation for 4. But since Flor and Madi didn't come with them, they ask the maitre d' if they can have a table for two. After waiting for a couple of minutes, Leo and Paula are finally seated. Paula wants a glass of wine, but Leo stops her. He's cautious in case his wife is indeed pregnant. Paula smiles. She really likes it when Leo is being assertive when it comes to her pregnancy. So she decides to take the pregnancy test to see. While waiting, Leo asks a waiter for a glass of water. But it seems like this isn't the night for graciousness, as the waiter tells Leo instead that he's seated at the wrong table. When Paula returns from the restroom, she finds her husband seated at a different table. She tells Leo she didn't take the test because she doesn't feel like peeing. In addition, she doesn't feel comfortable in the restaurant. All they've been getting is bad service since they arrived. She wants to leave, but he doesn't want to. The couple bicker again as they try to persuade each other. Paula says they shouldn't stay there if they do not like the service or the menu. It's completely normal to not like everything. On the other hand, Leo says they are already seated here. And where would they go if they left? A waiter approaches them and gives them the menu. Leo and Paula have decided to leave, but they don't know how to time it well. It's Paula who stands up first and briskly walks out of the restaurant. Leo clumsily follows after his wife. The couple goes to Catalina, a place near their house filled with clubs where people from the entertainment industry come. Leo doesn't like it there, but Paula wants to go, so he relents. He says if they ever meet Tincho Martinez Ball, a renowned publicist, Leo won't pretend to be nice to him. However, when the couple gets to the bar, Leo can't help but be nice to strangers. He hugs a woman who seems to really need it, and he strikes a conversation with a rather loud group of young people. A waitress approaches them, and they are led to their table immediately. They still talk about their newly divorced friends. Paula says she talked to Flor earlier, and says her friend seems sadder as time passes by. Flor is still processing the fact that she and Madi are separated. Paula says she's afraid that her marriage may end up the same way. Leo is adamant it won't happen. Flor and Mati may do the deed every married couple does, but they don't desire each other. Unlike Leo and Paula, who are filled with desires but can't find the right timing, they share a toast for their date that night, for their future dates, and for things they can talk about. For a while, they enjoy their food, talk about other people at the bar, and share food with each other. It's like they're in their first stage of the relationship, all lovey-dovey and enjoying each other's time. Then, the man of the hour, Tincho Martinez Ball, approaches them together with his date, Mariana. At the onset, Paula realizes her husband is right when he says Tincho is unbearable. His arrogance can make anyone feel awkward and annoyed. Still, the couple entertains the celebrity publicist and his date. Leo and Paula share some mundane issues about their marital life, and even relay the news about their friends Flor and Madi. It's still unbelievable how a couple of 12 years gets separated because of passing of time, burnout, and the routine. The conversation turns to nannies, as Leo and Paula mention taking care of their sons. But Tincho laughs at them. He says if their worry is about their children, then they should get a live-in nanny so they can live their lives as a married couple. Both Tincho and Mariana imply that kids are obstacles in a couple's intimacy. This makes Leo and Paula uncomfortable, as they don't share the same point of view. The conversation about nannies gets more awkward, and it's becoming obvious that Tincho and Mariana only care about their needs and are not really listening to the other couple. Paula can't stand Tincho anymore, so she makes an excuse to go to the washroom. Mariana volunteers to accompany her, still convincing her that a live-in nanny is the best for them. At the line, Paula meets her former lover, Pablo. Meanwhile, Tincho shows Leo several pictures of attractive young women, all fit to be a nanny according to him. Leo knows better than to take Tincho's advice, as Tincho only considers these women his candidates for indecent affairs. Still, Leo politely listens. When the women return, the four resume their conversation. Somehow the topic turns to pregnancy. Leo describes how Paula would ask for favors as part of her conception. The way he describes them sounds funny and a bit insulting to Paula. So Paula retaliates by vividly gesturing how she gave birth to their sons, all while pointing out Leo's shortcomings. Both Tincho and Mariana start to look uncomfortable. In the end, Leo and Paula leave, saying they need to get their kids from Leo's mom by 1:30 a.m. As they walk towards their car, Leo reproaches Paula for making fun of him. But Paula says it's not out of malice. She only wants to have fun. Once inside the car, she can't help but air out her frustrations for the night. Everything seems to be a problem for Leo when she thinks things can be dealt with easily. Her bottom line is that they rarely spend time alone with each other. Most of the time it's with their kids. She doesn't resent it, but what she resents is the fact that Leo is behaving this way during the only night they spend together. Paula says the problem is that Leo would rather stay at home than have a date with her. Leo doesn't know how to respond because, in a way, she's right. Paula challenges him. If they don't have kids, what would they do? Then she realizes she left her phone back in the bar. She gets out of the car and tells Leo she'll get it alone. Leo is frustrated. It's not like he doesn't want to spend time with Paula. He loves his wife so much that he would do anything to make her happy. It's just that his idea of spending time together includes quiet nights at home and cozying up on the couch or on the bed, watching movies or listening to old songs. Leo suddenly gets a vision of him spending such a moment with his neighbor Michaela. For him, it would have been a perfect night. But then, in this illusion, Paula has ran away with her ex Pablo, taking away their sons. Leo wakes up from his daydream. He realizes that he doesn't want that latter part of his illusions to come true. Leo gets out of his car to follow his wife, but when he returns to the bar, he sees Paula happily talking to Pablo. Devastated by what he sees, Leo walks along the bay to cool his head. He tries to call either Flor or Madi to really know why they separated, but he doesn't get the answer he wants. In the end, he returns to the bar to get his wife. The bartender points him outside, where Paula seems to be waiting for him. As they sit together, Leo finally tells Paula what's on his mind. He says that initially, he didn't want kids because he wanted to have more time alone with Paula, but she wanted to have kids, so he granted her wish. She looked so happy, beautiful, and excited when she was pregnant. But Leo didn't feel the same. He was afraid the kids would start driving them apart. Eventually, he's come to terms with his family life. Now he strongly feels for his wife and his kids, and he can't imagine a life without them. Paula can see that her husband is being sincere with his words. Quietly, she beckons him to return to the car with her. As they get into their car, they exchange a glance, silently communicating their shared understanding. Even though they don't exchange any words, they both know that they've forgiven each other. They value their openness more rather than keeping things to themselves, which only leads to resentment in the long run. Right there and then, Paula suggests they should go on a vacation together, without the kids. Who knows when it will be their next chance again? Leo thinks this is a good idea. They drive back home so Paula can pack their clothes, and their kids' clothes as well, which they will bring to Betty. While Leo is waiting, the neighbor Michaela arrives at the parking lot. She approaches Leo and says she has something for him. She enters the car and inserts a Frank Sinatra CD into the car stereo. For the duration of one Sinatra song, Leo and Michaela sit there listening, as if enjoying a private moment that only they know. Before leaving, Michaela says Leo deserves to properly listen to Sinatra. Paula arrives a few seconds after Michaela gets out of the car. Therefore, she doesn't see her husband with the neighbor. After putting their things into the car, they drive towards Betty's house. The couple is so ready to go on their impromptu vacation. But Betty turns on the television and its loud sound wakes the kids up. In the end, Leo and Paula decide to go home with their kids. Paula puts them to sleep. Then she goes to her husband, who's already lying on the sofa. She cuddles up to him, and he puts his arm around her. This night may not be the perfect hot night they anticipate. But what matters is that at the end of the day, they both end up in each other's arms.